Alrighty, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Appreciate you guys tuning in for another Knicks Nation post-game show. Thank you once again for giving me your time as this season continues to wind down. Knicks, Cavs. Knicks lose 116 to 124 against the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. And yeah, another loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks are now 0-3 against the Cavs this season, 0-3 against the Boston Celtics. Do quick math, 0-6 against the two top teams in the Eastern Conference. Once again, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, just smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. Weird game, right? Weird game. Let me put on the chat really quick. Weird game. I see you guys in the chat. Woody, Tony, what's going on? El Figgy. What's going on, guys? Weird game. Knicks had a 15-point lead. This is actually the first time in, I think, 79 chances that the Knicks, with the 15-point lead, actually lost the game. So that streak is now broken. Tom Thibodeau does not pass Pat Riley. He still is tied with him for the all-time coaching wins as a New York Knicks head coach. Yeah, guys, just the New York Knicks 9-13 from 3 in the first half. They shot 1-16 from 3 in the second half. Then that's pretty much your ball game. I mean, they came out hot. They were looking great. OG was dominating again. Cat really wasn't doing anything. I know he had like a serviceable night, but in that third quarter, I thought he should have deviated a little bit, got the ball moving a little bit. The ball was stagnant a lot. It looks like anytime he got the ball, he wanted to score tonight. Josh Hart teams are just continuing to leave Josh Hart open. 19 points, 4 assists. Hart with 19 field goal attempts. And Mikal Bridges with 6 shot attempts compared to Josh Hart's 19 shot attempts. In my opinion, I don't like that. I don't think that should happen. Mikal has just been playing so great for this basketball team. And Mikal tonight, only 6 shot attempts. Reminds me of that Laker game. Look, it was a back-to-back. I know, excuses. I understand that. But did you guys know that this is the second time the Knicks have played the Cavs in a back-to-back? And by the way, they play the Cavs later on in the season. And you guessed it, that is on another second leg of a back-to-back as well. So kind of weird scheduling from the basketball schedulers, if you were to say. But Cavs are elite. Cavs are dominant. And they just took control of this game in the second half. 38 points in the third quarter. 33 points in that fourth quarter from your New York Knicks. Delon Wright started this game, I thought, pretty well. And Delon Wright has actually surprised me. He's pretty good. His skill set suits well for this basketball team, for this group, perfectly. And it's going to be interesting. Does Delon Wright take some of Campaign's minutes in the playoffs? Because simply he's just been playing awesome, I think. Look, 7 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. He's playing good for what you're asking from him. But rotations are going to be a question mark heading into the playoffs simply due to the fact that Delon Wright has been playing well. Cat, I thought his night got defined by that big Jared Allen block. He just, 9-16. The Cat whistle just needs to continue to be studied, by the way. It seems like he gets fouled on 75% of his drives, and, the refs just don't call it. And unfortunately, he probably gets hampered by his complaining, and the referees just don't call it because he complains a lot. And 7 turnovers for Karl-Anthony Towns tonight. You don't like that, man. You don't like that. You don't like to see that. OG Anunoby, I thought, was dominant, especially in the first half. Kind of got away from him in the second half. Maybe fatigue caught up to him. You saw him laying on the floor, extremely exhausted. And at this point, it's like, bro, I just want these guys to be healthy. But I don't like Mikal with three of 6 field goal attempts, guys. And the narrative just continues with him regarding these big playoff marquee matchups. The elites of the elites got to show up. Got to show up. I know it's game number. I know the season's winding down, so this game really doesn't matter. So it's hard to like judge it based off of that. But I mean, still, Mikal has not shown up versus the elites, right? That concerns me a little bit. All right, I've done enough talking, guys. Let's see what you guys have to say. Appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. Let's go all the way to the chat. El Figgy says 3 reasons why we lost this game. I just didn't want another blowout for a minute. We looked competitive. Cat got handled handily tonight. Woody says, what a game. Tony says, I don't know what's worse from Cat, his lazy passing or dumb fouls or stupid shots he takes with 22 on the shot clock from the logo. I thought Cat was I didn't like Cat's game tonight. Just forced a lot. Frustrated by the foul calls. 7 turnovers. Forcing, especially in that third quarter, just got the Knicks off their game. Poor closeout to the first quarter from this team, from the Knicks. Poor closeout in the second quarter from the Knicks. And even though they were up, you're still like, look, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they can go down by, they've proven this year that they can go down by like 20 and still beat you. I mean, they literally did that to the Boston Celtics. So Eddie says Thibs is taking us nowhere. Listen, Yuri, what's going on? I hate to admit it. The health of Mitch has to be prioritized. It does. And Mitch didn't play tonight. Tony says turnovers cost us the win. I agree. El Figgy says, number 1, the refs were allowing us to get mugged on every single possession. Yeah. Bad ref game, but I'm not going to sit here and complain about them. Like I said, Cat has just a terrible whistle. And it seems like he gets penalized because he complains. And I think his complaining does him more harm than good. Because, yes, he's getting fouled out there, but I think he complains after every foul call. And I think the referees just don't want to call it, which is weird because, look, he's 7 foot and he's a big body and he just is getting fouled out there. Call the damn foul. But, yeah, I thought he was just off game tonight for Cat, even though he finished with 25-13. The turnovers is what threw everything off. Eddie says, back-to-back, no excuse. Jared, what's going on? Appreciate you, Jared. Meg says, like what I saw from OG, but damn, Mikal needs to step the F up, bro. What's going on, Meg? Yeah, Mikal needs to step up, man. These games versus the elites of the elites. Mikal Bridges, I mean, come on now. If this is any peak of what we're going to see in the playoffs, I don't like it. And I don't think that's the case. I think Mikal will show up. But anytime Mikal Bridges shoots 6 field goal attempts, guys, I mean, he's too talented to stay at 6 field goal attempts. And I know in the second half, Cat was trying to get going and OG was dominating in the first half. So Mikal was just kind of being that third or fourth wheel. But tonight, it was just the flow of the game just it wasn't in Mikal Bridges' favor. But still, it's like so hard to judge these games, but we have to, right? These games all count the same. Like game number 76 and game number 3. They all count the same. Look, Knicks are locked up in the 3rd seed. We just have to wait what the Bucks and Pistons do. But you still want to see them come out and compete. But it's unfortunate that the Knicks have gotten the crappy end of the stick with these back-to-backs, especially later on in the season. It'll be the 3rd against the Cavs, which is like weird. But yeah, Cleveland's a machine. There's a reason why they're 61-15. I mean, geez. 61-15, 33-5 at home. Knicks really went with an 8-man rotation until it was garbage time. Precious was actually really good tonight, I thought. Good to see that. Step in the right direction. Shamit, nothing from him. Kolek, bad game from Tyler Kolek. So, and Josh Hart was being left open, but, he hit 3 threes, which is, I guess, a good sign. But it's just they continue to leave Josh Hart open. And, I don't like this disparity. 19 field goal attempts from Hart and 6 field goal attempts from Mikal Bridges. Daniel, what's going on, Daniel? El Figgy says, I think Cat's knee is more of an issue than they are saying. Saw Karl-Anthony Towns limping up, jogging. And if that's the case, I don't want to have Karl-Anthony Towns play basketball until the playoffs. But these guys want to play. These guys know their bodies extremely well. Maybe it's just soreness, you hope and you think. But there's a reason why they sat him yesterday and they played him today. And they sat Mitch today and they played him yesterday. So the Knicks are sort of playing with the scheduling. And, you know, we're down so many rotational players. So it's super hard to, like, sit here and nitpick at things. Good news on Brunson. It seems like he's going to return when I thought he would return on Sunday versus the Phoenix Suns, because that way it gives him the 4 games to get his 65. Looks like he's going to return versus the Hawks or versus the Phoenix Suns, one of them. Campaign is doing workouts before the game. Deuce McBride is on his way back. So just got to get healthy. Big Taz, what's going on? Twinkle Toes, Mikal Bridges. Jared says Knicks weren't physical enough in the second half. Agree. They didn't match the physicality from the Cleveland Cavaliers. And do you guys think it's a concern that now we're 0-3 versus Cleveland? We're 0-3 versus Celtics. So, and in those games, Mikal has kind of been meh, right? So, I'm just happy that OJ Anunoby is continuing to dominate. Had a few moves tonight that were incredible, by the way, especially in that first half. He looked like a man on a mission. He has been looking like a man on a mission. He was dominating this basketball game in the first half. But again, Nick shot 1 of 11 from 3, 1 of 16 from 3 in the second half, and 9 of 13 in the first half. That is your ball game right there. They only hit 1 3 in the second half. You're not going to win, especially against this team, the elites, when you shoot that poorly in the second half. And if they go through these funks, if that's going to happen in the playoffs, you're going to lose. You need to hit your shots, and a lot of short shots tonight. But, yeah. Butch Brown says Mikal Bridges did not show up, period. Even if they get everyone back, they're not going to win, Butch Brown says. Yeah, I mean, that's my concern. If there's anything I'm taking from this game, is OG's great. And if he continues to play like this, good things will happen for us in the playoffs. Good things will happen. But Mikal has just been non-existent against the Cavs and the Celtics. And you got to put on your big boy pants against these teams, right? And look, it's been 6 games. And he just, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's fatigue, he just hasn't shown up against these guys, right? And you got to show up against these guys. And I'm not saying Mikal can't, because I know Mikal can show up against these big guys, the elites of the elites. He's been playing really well, Mikal. He has been. So it would be unfair for me to say that, you know, he hasn't been playing. He has been playing well for this team. Him and OG have been playing great. But when the stakes are higher, when you're facing the Cleveland Cavaliers, number 1 in the Eastern Conference, you want to see him kind of dominate like OG did in the first half. You want to see stretches like that. Be like, okay, he can do that versus Cleveland. He can do that versus Boston. And he just hasn't done it. He just hasn't done it. El Figgy says we have to play the Cavs again, the Celtics, the Hawks, the Pistons, and the Suns. How many wins do you think we will get? Good question. I think the Knicks will hit 50. I do think the Knicks will hit 50. They're 2 away from 50, and they're 22-16 away from Madison Square Garden on the road. And just checking on about Detroit's getting blown out right now by OKC, so that's very much up in the air. If they lose, Bucks are a half game behind Detroit, and they own the tiebreaker, so then you're back to playing Detroit in the first round. But, yeah, it's coming down to the end here, guys. At Atlanta on April 5th, versus Phoenix on Sunday, April 6th. So Knicks have a couple of days off here, and they travel to Atlanta. Probably travel there tomorrow. So Saturday game at 3 p.m. I say they get Atlanta. I say they get Phoenix because Phoenix will be without Kevin Durant. I say they get 50 there. Boston, I mean, they haven't shown us anything this year that tells me that they'll win that game. So Boston, I would say loss. At Detroit, I don't know how that game's going to play out. So I would say they get to like 51, 52 wins. So I say they get like 4 more wins. Atlanta, Phoenix, one of Detroit, and Brooklyn at the end of the season. So I think the Knicks will finish at 51 wins this year. And going into the postseason, you're playing Detroit or you're going to play the Bucks. It's either or at this point. And it's still very much up in the air, and we've debated it all week long. And you guys know how I feel about that. I think the Knicks fare well against the Milwaukee Bucks. But once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Thanks for giving me your time. Again, Knicks fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers 124-105. They are now 0-6 against Boston and Cleveland this season. So, yeah, good news on Brunson. Good news on campaign, Deuce McBride. But tonight, just, I don't know. The Cat with the turnovers, Mikal with the 6 shot attempts. You know, it's like, how do you really judge these games when they don't really matter, but they do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't need these games, but still, Cleveland won at this game, right? But then you're down a bunch of rotational players, and it's, especially against the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're not going to overcome a stretch where you shoot 1 of 16 from 3 in the second half. You're just not. And we saw good things from Delon Wright, and I want to circle back to him in a bit, but yeah. Buchan, 5 points in 2 minutes. Hope they keep him on the team for next season, expecting him to be a factor in the rotation, Chris Connor says. Buchan is a former first-round pick, had his moments with Milwaukee. That'll be interesting if they keep him. Appreciate you in the chat, Chris. Butch Brown says Thibs should have left Wright in the game with Shamet and OG. Yeah, bad game from Kolek tonight. Just didn't, get in a rhythm. But going back to Delon Wright, like, this is why. So for everyone that said, like, who do you want Tom Thibodeau to play when he wasn't going to Delon Wright, he wasn't going to Tyler Kolek, this is why we wanted to see these guys play, because he has actually been playing really well. I didn't hop on the post game yesterday, but he played a good game yesterday. He's been solid for this team. And a question that I want to ask you guys is, do you think Delon Wright takes Campaign's minutes in the playoffs? Because he's 6'5", he's bigger. He can't shoot as well as Campaign, but defensively he's a better defender out there. But Campaign ultimately has been playing well for this team throughout the season, so I don't think Tom Thibodeau will take that role from him due to an injury. But it is the conversation I have. Delon Wright in the playoffs could provide some value for this team. And I think Wright should play some. The rotation shrink in the playoffs. And it's just going to be a question that we have to ask ourselves come playoffs. So Yuri says, yeah, easy. Yeah, shout out to Delon Wright. Sitting on the bench, hasn't been playing. The who do you want Tom Thibodeau to play crowd prior when he wasn't playing anyone, we said Delon Wright, give us some Tyler Kolek, and they've been holding down the fort for our injured players, for our injured Knicks. So Wright just has been proving that he should have been playing. And I'm just happy he's playing now, and he's playing really well for this team, like really well. So Butch Brown says, yes, Wright should. Big Tass says, I don't think Thibs will do that due to politics. Yeah. Woody says Delon Wright is pretty good. Yeah. Isaiah said, what's going on, Isaiah? And I'm just worried about this team. Gives up so easily when they start to feel tight. That's not great. Yeah, I mean, tonight especially was just, you shot so well in the first half. Got up 15, looking great. OG was dominating. And when Cleveland started to make their run, credit to Cleveland too. They're on the ball pressure tonight. I thought was really well. They were playing physical with the Knicks. Every single time the Knicks were bringing the ball up, Cleveland is right in their grill. And look, they were trying that with Delon Wright, and Delon Wright is really not a good ball handler. So Cleveland was really playing tight tonight, and they were just up against the Knicks all night long. And the Knicks kind of faltered a little bit. They started to miss shots, and they got punched in the mouth, right? And then they just couldn't overcome that because of the poor shooting. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be definitely a talking point heading into the playoffs, right? But I think the real positive is OG, guys, because he looks phenomenal. I keep saying it. He looks phenomenal. And if he's going to play like that in the playoffs, this Knicks team will be scary with JB. But the question is, does he play like that with Jalen Brunson? So, Butch Brown says Wright got height and been hitting threes. I like Delon Wright, man. He's a basketball player. He does everything right, no pun intended. Delon Wright does everything right out there. And he rarely, he's good. He's good. Now, Shamet tonight fell back to Landry Shamet, but Shamet's been good for us. And it's the inconsistencies that you just have to sit back and did tonight really matter that much to them? Where was their mindset? What was the Knicks' mindset? I really wanted this win. Trust me, I did, because it's on national TV. It seems like every back-to-back is on ESPN. Seems like Doris Burke is calling every single Knicks game, and especially in Cleveland. And you have another back-to-back against Cleveland. So I know that sounds like excuses, but anytime you have a back-to-back with travel, it takes a toll on your body. And when these games don't really matter to the Knicks, Cleveland's still trying to lock up the 1 seed. They're still trying to fight. Best record in the NBA. They're still trying to accomplish that. They were playing with a whole nother intensity in the second half, and you just saw it. They just wanted it more. And anytime you say you hear me say that, like a team wanted it more, that's a bad sign. But Cat, I think, even though Cat is getting whacked out there and getting fouled, I think he just got to start the complaining. I think he does. Yuri, I see you in the Discord. If you guys want to hop in the Discord chat, hop in the Discord. Accept it. Then go to the post-game live call-in and just wait for me to get to you guys when I get to your calls. That's, once again, in the Discord. The link is pinned up in the chat. I see Yuri in there. Appreciate you, Yuri. Butch Brown says Cleveland just found their spots and hit. When Cleveland is playing fast, the Knicks can't play slow. Chris says, wonder if Wright will get any more minutes once Brunson, Deuce, and Cam return. That's a question that we're asking right now. It's then Tony says Delon Wright did nothing for us defensively. Mitchell and Garland had 44 points. Tony, they're great players, but I'm saying take all of that out, Tony. I'm just saying he's been playing well for his role. You're asking him to start after he's been sitting on the end of the bench just giving high fives and just drinking Gatorade like he hasn't been playing, right? For his role, I think Delon Wright has been pretty good. And his skill set suits this group perfectly, especially off the bench. Now, if you were to give me truth serum and if you were going to ask me, Anthony, do you think Delon Wright's going to play over our main rotation, Payne, Shamet, Deuce? I would say no. But if those guys are performing poorly, you definitely have to go to Delon Wright. Because now you know he can play. He can perform. He has chemistry. He looks like he has chemistry with OG, which is nice. So if those guys are not performing, I don't want to hear, who do you want Tom Thibodeau to play if Delon Wright's not playing? I don't want to hear that come playoff time. I need to see Delon Wright if those guys are not going to perform. It's playoff time now. You put your big boy pants on. It's all hands on deck. It's not about you got to throw your feelings out the window. It's about winning time. You got to do anything you can to win the basketball game. So Darian says they better matter. Indiana may get the 3 seed if the Knicks are not careful. Darian says in the chat. What's going on, Darian? Tony says, I love the Knicks, but you're not going to beat this team with the 8-man rotation, especially when most of your bench are small guards. Cleveland essentially played an 8-man rotation too, but what Cleveland did, look, they've limited Donovan Mitchell's minutes all season long. They played Javonte Green and Craig Porter Jr. 5 minutes and 6 minutes. Those 5 minutes and those 6 minutes, that stretch limited the minutes from the starters. So even though they were essentially playing an 8-man rotation, they were Hunter, Okoro, Murrow. That was their bench. They were missing a key piece. If I got his name, a shooter. They were missing him. They still went to Green and Porter. Knicks, 8-man rotation. It was Precious, Shamet, Kolek. That was it. So, look, man, you're down a bunch of bodies. Tom Thibodeau's your head coach. No Mitchell Robinson. You know, you're starting to get to a point where you just want to be healthy at this point. And for Darian said they better play better, that the Pacers may catch them. I don't know. Do you guys think the Pacers will catch them? Knicks on the tiebreaker. Pacers are 3 games back in the loss column. It's interesting. It's weird because a part of me wants the Pacers to catch them. Like, I don't know if you guys share the same sentiment. Like, even though we've lost to Cleveland 3 times this year, that first half, like, watching the Knicks in that first half, I was like, okay, I like this. I like this. Now you put Mitch. Now you put Brunson. I like this. I don't know. I don't know. It's just that first half was promising, and then the second half came. It was night. But 4-3 at this point, guys. Honestly, it's either Boston or Cleveland. Second round. That's what you're looking at, right? So, El Figgy says Cleveland has 6 guys in double digits. They are a machine, El Figgy. Butch Brown says right over Kolek because of his height and threes. Robert says 5-8 with no rest. 0 for our last 5, all blowouts. What's going on, Robert? 0 for last 5, all blowouts. You mean the back-to-backs you're talking about? Come back to me. But yeah, guys, I mean, look, you're 48-28. Indiana is 3 games behind you. Now, you got 7 games left, right? So Indiana would have to pretty much run this table to catch the Knicks. Like, they got Cleveland twice. And at that point, you don't know if Cleveland's going to play anyone the final game of the season. They got Washington, Utah, Orlando. I do think the Knicks are going to finish 3. I do. But now you see Detroit up here. They're down 12 right now to OKC. You're watching that because Milwaukee is, if Detroit loses, Milwaukee's all of a sudden a half game behind Detroit. And then Detroit owns the tiebreaker currently against the Pistons. They play each other 2 times in the final games of the season. Milwaukee wins one of them. If they're tied going into the final 2 games, Milwaukee gets the 5th seed. And then you're playing Detroit in the second round. I mean, first round, excuse me. Then it's a dogfight. Then that is a dogfight. But it's Detroit or Milwaukee. It's literally flip of a coin. Tony says 3 and 4 seed don't matter. It don't matter to me, guys. It doesn't matter to me. Yes, last 5 back-to-backs, they are 0-5. Yeah, damn. Good stat, Robert. Appreciate you bringing that insight in here. Crimes Dad said, what's going on, Crimes Dad? Appreciate you in the chat. Appreciate you for becoming a member as always. Pacers won't catch us. Brunson's coming back, and Mitch will play most games. Enough with the negativity. We played well with what we had. It is very respectable, and we should be positive. Love that positivity from Crimes Dad. Let's go. Crimes Dad bringing the positivity. He says, Yuri, be positive on the call. Yuri's always positive. I don't think we have to worry about that. Yuri's always positive. No negativity in here, guys. It's just, I opened this post game saying, look, we lost. Tough loss. Yeah, you're 0-3 versus the Cavs, 0-3 versus Celtics. Dante Reeves, appreciate the subscription. But the good things were Delon Wright played good. OG still looks phenomenal. Guys are tired out there. This game essentially doesn't matter for the Knicks. Cleveland, it matters for them to lock up the 1 seed in the entire NBA, so they have home court throughout the NBA playoffs. And you had a great first half, but the bottom line is you shot 1 of 16 from 3 in the second half. You're not going to win. 9 of 13 in the first half. That's why you built up that 15-point lead. You build off of that. Second half, you let go of the rope. But I'm already seeing it on X. A lot of people are like overreacting to the Mikal Bridges 6 field goal attempts. Like I said, I opened up this saying I don't like it. Mikal needs to show us that he can show up versus these teams. And this year, he just really has been like, he's been playing great, but against the big dogs, he's been like, okay. And it's all about balance. But I'm not gonna be upset about this loss, guys. I'm not. Smash the like button. 7 likes. Appreciate you guys in here. 7 likes. Get those likes up, guys. Appreciate you guys in here. Thanks for the support again. Butch says Indiana beat us last year in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see Detroit. They beat Cleveland. Robert says, aren't you hoping for at least one close game against these top teams? That's the thing. You can't just, like, you got 2 more against Cleveland and Boston. And, I mean, just give us a win to just get that monkey off your back. Like, you don't want to just be 0-8 versus them. Like, just get a win, right? Just get a win versus them. But it's like at the end of the season, so it's like, look, you're down a bunch of guys, man. I mean, you just want to be healthy going into the playoffs. That's the only goal, and build good habits. And honestly, OG Anunoby playing like this is getting me extremely excited heading into the playoffs. Extremely excited, because it seems like nobody can guard this man. You even see him do like a curly kneel, keeping his dribble as he fell on the floor. I mean, crazy highlight, by the way, from OG Anunoby. And yeah, and he's just been playing well for this team, and he's just getting me excited that in a series versus Boston, he can match up with their wings, because we need our wings to match up with the Boston wings in order to even have a shot. So OG is doing his thing, man. He is doing his thing. He's playing like a stud. He's playing like a superstar. Second half tonight, he just ran out of gas, and I don't blame him, man. He's been playing a lot. He's been awesome. So it's all about health with OG Anunoby. That's the one thing. It's all about health. Dante says this team is still going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go. Let's go, Dante. I love it. I love it. If OG plays like this and Mikal's doing his thing, let's go. Bring the positivity. Bring the overly let's get overly optimistic in here. El Figure says you got to be thick-skinned to be a Knicks fan. This ain't for the faint of the heart. Love that, man. It's not. It's not. We can think about the Knicks being a Knicks fan is you can talk so much crap about them and you can still love them deep down inside. And it, even though you're talking negative about them, there's some love within that negativity. And that's honestly how I've been kind of navigating the entirety of the season. And we've honestly had a great season. When they've been playing poorly, you guys know I come on here and scream and yell at them. Not scream and yell, but I get sort of negative, especially at the coach. You guys know I'm on a train, by the way. Still on that train. If you know, you know. But yeah, you're going to probably get 51 wins, and you're probably going to have another second round matchup against the Boston Celtics. You're probably going to advance to the second round again. If you fall back to fourth, so be it. It doesn't matter to me. I still would prefer to play Cleveland, as crazy as that sounds. Boston is just a machine. But at this point, you're going to be 3. and you're going to have a first-round matchup against the Pistons or the Bucks. And quite frankly, the Knicks should beat the Pistons or the Bucks. If you play the Pistons, it is going to be a dogfight. They will try to take everything out of you. They will try to take a piece of you as you advance to the second round. You'll probably be all bruised up and beat up going into the Celtics series. I don't want that. I want that to be nice coasting, nice beautiful series versus the Bucks, even though you never know. They still have Giannis. I think if the Knicks face the Bucks, it could be easy work, but we shall see. Jay the Don, 8 straight games from OG Anunoby, where he has had 20-plus points. Love it, man. Love it. Crimes Dad said, I didn't know Snoopy was a Knicks fan. This is from Foco. Foco bobbleheads, man. They hooked me up. Shout out to Foco in his Knicks gear. Pacers stink. What's going on? Sup, boys? Tough loss tonight, but I guess we sort of showed we can compete when everyone is healthy. Easy on them TV. As a professional coach or assistant coach, I would never want to call Towns on my team. His effort on defense is really concerning. A lot of people share that same sentiment. Easy on him. You got to see how it looks at the playoffs at this point. Towns, saw him limping. I look, if he's hurt, sit him. Saw him limping. You don't really want to risk it, push it, anything. But defensively, it's an issue, right? And that's why the Knicks have been going to Mitchell Robinson more with Karl-Anthony Towns. And I'm wondering in a playoff series, there's no back-to-backs in a playoff series, so you're going to have Mitch. Defense has been better with Mitchell Robinson. Defense will be better with Deuce back. And we saw with Deuce on the floor and Mitch on the floor, defense was good. Defense was great. Offensively, you have to see how Jalen Brunson, how the ankle is, how the ankle reacts, and how he feels. But who knows? I mean, game one, Tom Thibodeau can throw out a lineup of Mitchell Robinson starting with Karl-Anthony Towns versus the Detroit Pistons. I doubt it, but it's an option. It's an option he hasn't gone to. Maybe he's holding that in his chamber and he just wants to unleash it in the playoffs. Who knows? But it is a concern, and we just have to wait how it looks in the playoffs. Crimes Dad says, 160. Yeah, why does it show 116? I rushed that. I got you right now, Crimes Dad. I wish they had 116. Boom. Thank you, Crimes Dad. Appreciate you. For real, Towns will cost us more games in the playoffs. El Figgy says, over here watching OKC versus Detroit. Man, I miss Isaiah Hartenstein. Jay Beer says Knicks will get swept by the Cavs and the Celtics in the playoffs. Man, I mean, they've given us nothing to argue that point, right? They've given us nothing to argue that point. All right, let's get to Yuri in the Discord to see what Yuri has to say in the Discord. Let me get to Yuri really quick. Yuri, what is going on? How are you? Welcome to the Knicks Nation postgame show. What you got?
I'm doing good, and I'm doing good. I'm not mad about this loss. I'm gonna go flat out and straight up say that I'm not mad about this loss tonight. You're down Deuce. You're down Jalen Brunson. You know, you didn't have Mitch tonight. This was gonna be a tough one to grind out. I liked the first half. You know, I did catch glimpses of the game. The physicality was good in the first half, but then they started getting physical with you in the second half, and you didn't match it.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm not mad about this loss. And I'll go on record and say I don't care if we're 0-8 against the elite teams.
Mm-hmm.
Do not care. The regular season does not correlate to the playoffs. We remembered what happened back in the 2021 playoffs when we faced Atlanta and we swept them. Guess what happens? We get 4-1.
It's a good point, Yuri. It's a good point. I mean, you bring up a good point because that has happened. History has shown, even though you play well against teams in a regular season, come playoff time, you throw that out the window.
Playoffs is a different breed, so I'm not mad about this loss. I am concerned, however, about Mikal Bridges getting 6 shots. You don't want to see that, especially with the way he's been balling lately.
Yeah.
You know? So that concerns me a little bit. Cat, I'm not worried about. Cat's going to get it together in the playoffs. Cat is going to be all right. I'm not worried about it. But if Cat's E is injured, I'm going to be honest, you should shut him down until the playoffs.
Yeah.
That worries me. I did see the limping. Overall, again, you're third in the East. And pull up that standings, because I'm going to say it right now. I'm gonna say it. If you don't mind, please pull up the standings for me.
Go ahead. What do you have to say? I'll try to pull them up.
What I'm trying to say is you're third in the East.
Yeah.
What? You're 48 and 27. You're 6 in your last 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or 6 in your last 5 now, I think, because that's going to be updated. That's not a bad thing. Remember, you had people calling you a play-in team with how you looked with Cat on the floor without Mitch.
Yeah.
This could have been a lot worse. Big time. You had people calling you a play-in team. I don't think people understand how big of a point that is. Play-in team. But since Mitch has come back, he's elevated you to what your identity used to be last year, which is defense. Now, there is a reason why Tibbs is not playing the double big lineup. I have a theory about that. He's keeping it in his pocket for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Could be. History has showed that I don't think that's the case, but, you know.
I don't like that, though, at the same time, because I'd rather see Cat and Mitch on the floor together.
Yeah.
You know, so they get the experience. On the other hand, though.
Yeah, what else you got, Yuri?
When you have an 8... I'm going to end it with this, and this is me actually criticizing Tibbs. When you have an 8-man rotation against the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're not going to win. Hands down, that's it. I gotta be fair. I gotta be objective.
Yeah. Good call, Yuri. Appreciate you. Say Queasy, I see you in a Discord. What's going on, Say Queasy? It's been a minute. How are you? Hope all is well.
You good? You hear me?
Yeah, I got you. What's up?
It was a rough game, but I low key seen this happening. Mm-hmm. Like we got off on a good start. That's what I was happy with. It wasn't on the good side. It wasn't a blowout by the second quarter. We at least made it to the third and fourth before the Cavs started to run. But I already seen it happening because I already seen in the third quarter we was blowing leads against Sixers and the other teams. So I'm like, I'm praying we don't blow a lead against the Cavs, because if we do, it's probably gonna be over.
Yeah.
OG been playing crazy, but Cat, he got to wake up. You can't do 7 turnovers against the top teams. You're doing fouls and then you're doing turnovers. Like, playoffs is around the corner. Like, I'm not panicking over this game. It is what it is, but I'm just looking at it as in, if this was the playoffs and you do turnovers, it's going to be a problem, because that's what you don't want to do in the playoffs.
Yep.
But it is what it is. But Bridges, like, he got to wake up. There's no reason you should be holding the ball, draining the clock, and then 6 seconds you make a play, and then you stop your dribble, and then you're throwing it to Josh Hart, Shamet to shoot the ball with 3 seconds left. Yeah. It's like, why you keep holding the ball if you just going to stop your dribble? You wasn't being, like, aggressive. You wasn't attacking. And you had good games. Like, maybe the Sixers game was a bad game. Like, we gave you a pass. Like, we won. It's the Sixers. So I was expecting a better game, or at least a decent game. Yeah. Like, this is another. He's not even playing no 35, 60 minutes. And he's having a better game than you. Like, I think that third quarter where I think it was Wright, Hart, Bridges, Shamet, and Precious, I thought that was his time to shine. Yeah. It looked like Tibbs gave him like the RJ role, was like, you supposed to take over. But it looked like it was mainly Josh Hart doing all the offense, and Bridges was like just standing around or would waste the clock and then pass it last second. But on the good side, OG's playing good. And I ain't gonna lie, if OG's playing like this in the playoffs, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like we could beat anybody. Because this OG's different. He was not playing like this in the start of the season or even against the top teams. So if he's doing this with Brunson come back, everybody healthy, and the playoffs, we don't play back. So I believe we could beat anybody if OG's like this. But that's all I gotta say.
Appreciate you, say Queasy. Yeah, Bridges has like these mental lapses, and especially he's too passive at times, and he has found that balance, which has kind of been like, that was the frustrating part today. But he was right in that third where he kind of wanted Bridges to kind of take over, and he's just too passive. I mean, Hart just shot, double, triple the shot attempts from Mikal. Can't do that in the playoffs. And going back to Towns and his turnovers and the foul trouble, those are two things that you cannot do in a playoff series. You cannot do in a 7-game series. And we know Karl-Anthony Towns in his career is very foul prone. And he does ticky-tack stuff. He gets into foul trouble. I think I'm expecting it, but that can't happen because that's just been Towns' game. So turnovers, foul trouble. Third quarter, he was too much ISO heavy. Offense just wasn't flowing. And yeah, that's why this Knicks team lost this game. But yeah, heading into the playoffs, you need to find the balance. But like he said, if OJ Anunoby is playing like this, with Bridges doing his thing, Brunson doing his thing in the playoff Brunson, this Knicks team can beat anybody. Anybody, if that's the case. Appreciate the calls, guys. Appreciate the calls. Tony says Bridges has played every game this season. He's due for a game like tonight, y'all. LV Live says this is just one game. We good. It's a back-to-back. What's going on, LV Live? Appreciate you in here. Shout out to LV Live hopping on the podcast yesterday. Man, time flies. Marsh Zone says facts. Bridges with ball stopping. El Figgy says when we're moving the ball around and playing quick, our shots fall. As soon as we start slowing down on offense and holding onto the ball, we are cooked. And you saw that tonight, with especially in that third. And Kolek didn't give you anything off the bench. But I'm not worried. At the end of the day, you're at the end of the season. You're going to go. It just get healthy. Like, honestly, guys, just honestly, just get healthy, and that's all I need. All we should care about is the health of this team. And yes, there are some things like tonight you didn't like, but they've been playing fine. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They are, and when we play Cleveland again, if we play Boston again, you have to be perfect. Perfect to beat these teams. And you just haven't. First half was great, promising. Second half, they made adjustments. They caught up. They started hitting shots. You started missing. You have to be perfect. But, first round should be good for us, hopefully. And then second round, we cross that bridge when we get there. And you just have to be perfect against these teams, because if you're not, if you're in foul trouble, the turnovers, you're not going to beat these teams. You're not. Patience thinks that Cat needs to pick it up when Brunson comes back. Bridges needs to focus on defense and take shots when they come. He shouldn't be looking to score. What's going on, Patience think? Tony says Mitchell has to start versus the Cavs to win. If we play the Cavs and it's not looking like we're going to play them until the Eastern Conference Finals, if we get there, you have to start Mitchell Robinson. He has shown you that he has dominated them in the past, but it's how it's shaping up. You're not going to play them into the Eastern Conference Finals, but I agree. That's a series where you play Mitch and you just play Mitch with Karl-Anthony Towns. Versus the Pistons, versus the Bucks, I think you can get by with your team. I think you can handle them. Gentleman's sweep, maybe. It's going to be dogfight, but still, I think first round, I think this Knicks team should advance. I think we should have no problems in the first round. If we do, that's a problem in itself. Because if we limp to the second round, we beat let's say the Pistons take us to 6 or 7 games, how confident are you going to feel against the Celtics staring at you in the second round? So you just want to build good habits, be positive, but I think this Knicks team has been playing well. You just want to get Jalen Brunson back. El Figgy says we have to stay healthy, rest Cat going forward. Yeah, you have 7 more games. Maybe Cat plays 4 or 5 of them, and after that, I think you should rest them because you don't want anything to happen, God forbid. And look, even though we play Boston, Cleveland, I don't care. He's probably not going to play the back-to-backs. You got 2 more back-to-backs this season. This weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And then Thursday, April 10th, Friday, April 11th, with travel. I mean, this schedule, man. Just look at the last 3 back-to-backs. You had the back-to-back versus Dallas versus the Clippers at home. Then you had versus Philly at Cleveland. So after the Philly game, you hopped on a plane and went to Cleveland. Then you're going to Atlanta. Then you're going back home versus Phoenix. Then it's going to be at Detroit. Then you're going home versus Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, sucks. Jay Beer says Knicks need a true superstar, maybe 2 to win it all. I think we got the core, man. I think we need a few more pieces off that bench. I think we got the core. This Rover says no more back-to-back excuses, please. We lost like 95% of our back-to-backs. What's going on, this Rover? One day I would like to hear you in the Discord, this Rover. Appreciate you in the chat, this Rover. Robert says they just need to go 3-3 to lock up the 3 seed. I think they're going to get the 3 seed. Like, they're going to beat Phoenix. I mean, I think they should win their next 2 games, and then I think they need one more. Then at Brooklyn, I think that's a win. Or at Detroit. I think they're going to win. I don't think the Pacers are going to catch us. It's unless something drastic happens, like if Tom Thibodeau announces right now that everyone is resting. Jay Beers became a member. Shout out to Jay Beers becoming a member. Appreciate you, Jay Beers. Thank you for the support. I do film sessions, those of you in the chat, that I post every single week for my members. Appreciate you, Jay Beers. Thank you for the support as always. But yeah, I mean, where was I going? Sorry. I just got what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Appreciate you, Jay Beers. El Figgy says, good call, Yuri. Not worried about Cat. Yuri says it's an excuse, especially when you're injured. Yeah. Yeah, you just want to build good habits, man. I mean, even after April 13th, playoffs don't start until the 19th or the 20th. You're going to start either Saturday or Sunday. My birthday's on Sunday. I hope they start on Sunday, by the way, April 20th. But you're going to either start the 19th or the 20th. And you have a week buffer. So it's not like you start right away. Because remember, the play-in tournament starts right after the playoffs. So you have a week off to rest, like get your bodies right, and then it's go time at April 19th or April 20th. It's either the Pistons or it's either the Bucks. And we just have to go from there. Don't worry, Rick Kyle coaches the Pacers. They ain't moving. You were saying this Rover was your favorite and you want him to call in. I called in once before. Oh, yeah, this Rover is one of my favorites. I love this Rover. Rasul says salute to the chat. What's going on, Rasul? What's going on, Rasul? Appreciate you in here, man. Doc Rivers coaches the Bucks. Yuri, Bucks staying at the 6th seed. I don't know, Yuri. Like, I've been wavering. Because you see this score right here. Detroit 45, OKC 57. If Detroit loses, Bucks are a half game behind Detroit. And then let's go to Detroit's schedule. At Toronto. Toronto stinks. Memphis. Sacramento. New York. And then these 2 games. Milwaukee. I think it's going to come down to these 2 games for Detroit and Milwaukee. I don't think you're going to know unless Milwaukee is like falls off a cliff and is like two games behind Detroit or 3 games behind Detroit. Because if Milwaukee's 2 games behind Detroit heading into this matchup and they win both games, they get the 5th seed. So, a lot can happen. A lot can go down. But yeah, I mean, good news on Brunson, good news on the point guard. You just want to, a little hiccup on the road, but I mean, it doesn't help the narrative, right? I mean, the narrative just continues to grow. I know we're gonna wake up tomorrow and look on the ESPN. The Knicks are 0-6 versus the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. How far can they go in the playoffs? I like if that's what's on my screen tomorrow. I book it. Like, you're going to see that. The Knicks can't beat elite teams. You're going to see that. Like, that's what the media does. It's true. They haven't beat them, but I still think there's a possibility to overtake them. I do. You got to play perfect. You got to be healthy, number one. Anything can happen in a playoff series. Anything can happen. Guys get hurt. Guys get injured. And, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, man. Memphis is a mystery at this point. Who knows what kind of team comes out for that game? Yeah, Memphis is a mystery for sure. You're talking about the Memphis versus the Detroit Pistons that they play. Yeah. The schedule is let's look at the Bucks schedule. Bucks got an easier schedule. At Philly, win. At Miami, could be a win. At New Orleans, win. Minnesota, maybe a loss. New Orleans again, win. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Yesterday, I would say it's Knicks Bucks. But now I'm looking at these schedules and I'm thinking Knicks Pistons first round. Fluctuating. A lot can change. It's fluctuating right now, but a lot can change. A lot can change. Easier for the Knicks to play the Bucks, in my opinion. Be careful what you wish for because they have Giannis. He can take over a series. Dame, it's looking more optimistic that he's going to come back from his blood clot. At least that's what we're hearing. So they will probably have Dame. And I know you throw the regular season stuff out the window, even though we swept them in the regular season. I know you can play us a different game, different animal. So, but right now it's either one of them. It's either one of them. So, yeah, it's these next couple of weeks are going to be really interesting, and obviously we're going to be watching it extremely close. Jay Henry, appreciate the subscription. Appreciate the sub, Jay Henry. Yeah, guys, see if we can get some update on Brunson. Traveled with the team, so that's a positive sign that he is good to go. I mean, probably this weekend, because you don't travel with the team. They said on the broadcast that he is going to play full practice this weekend and going to see how his body responds. Hawks, Suns. I said he needs to come back for that Sun games, the Phoenix Suns game, if he wants that 65 games. And if I know Jalen Brunson, I think he wants the 65 games because I think he really wants all NBA, and it's just a great accomplishment. But at the same time, you really want him to be healthy. So L. Figgy says, let's hope playoff Mikal shows up. The thing that gives me confidence in that, L. Figgy, is he's had some good moments with Brooklyn, right? And he's had good moments with Phoenix. But with Brunson coming back, you're going to have to navigate, like, who gets the ball in certain situations now. OG is just playing so good that I kind of want the ball in OG's hands a lot. I know you're going to have the ball in Brunson's hands a lot, as you should, but OG has just been dominant. I mean, he's unstoppable lately for this Knicks team. And if he's going to play like that in a playoff series, just keep feeding the beast, right? Just keep feeding the beast. And that is truly what gets me excited. So I think Mikal's going to show up, El Figgy. I do. I got faith in Mikal. I got faith in Mikal. Just on my Twitter timeline to see if anything has come out yet. Post-game comments or anything. Yeah, you're already seeing. You're already seeing it. The Knicks are 0-8 versus the top 3 teams in the NBA. They're already seeing it. So, look, we haven't beat them. So that's the narrative we put on ourselves. Tonight, we're missing some rotation guys, but you just haven't beat them. Pacers says, I don't know, man. If Dame has a stroke during the playoffs because of clots, I won't be. Come on, Pacers. Don't say that. Don't say that. Never want to say that, Pacers. But I really hope Dame is okay regarding that blood clots. Blood clots are scary. They are. And, yeah, I mean, he's compromised. And you don't know if he's going to come back or if he will come back. But let's be respectful to Dame. He's a great player, and he has shown up in the playoffs. So that's scary as is. So, Yuri says, I hate the media. Yeah, Yuri. I'm already seeing it on the timeline. Here it is right here. Stat Muse. The Knicks are 0-8. That's the top 3 teams in the NBA. So, what do you guys think about the Kevin Durant rumors today? Did you guys see that? I'll touch on this briefly. What did you guys see? I'll let you guys chime in the chat. So, according to Shams today, he said that the New York Knicks were one of the teams that were interested in Kevin Durant at the trading deadline. Perked my eyes up a little bit. And he's a player who I've thought the Knicks would try to go out and get this summer. I think it depends on what happens this summer regarding how the Knicks finish in the playoffs in the postseason. But I think Kevin Durant will get traded. In terms of the package, I don't know what goes to Phoenix. But it seems like the Knicks were interested at the trading deadline for Kevin Durant. Made you think a little bit. Right? Would it be Mikal going back to Phoenix? OG? Would you dare to trade OG Anunoby the way he's playing right now for Kevin Durant? For 37-year-old Kevin Durant? I don't think I would. El Figgy says, I don't ever want to see KD in a Knicks jersey after what he said. Rasul says, I don't believe it. Yuri says, KD ass can get traded anywhere. Isaiah says, seriously, I'm getting more and more concerned that Mikal will not show up in the playoffs. I'm getting nervous, and it sucks feeling this about him. Hope he turns that feeling around, Isaiah. I really do hope he turns that feeling around. Robert says, Cat, I think the salaries are close. Is a core with Brunson, OG, Mikal, KD better than what we have now? I don't know. Kevin Durant's almost 40 years old, right? So, still a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's still a great player. Champion. Performed. But he didn't want to come here back in 2019 when he had a chance to come here. And now he wants to come to the Knicks when we're a ready-made contending team. Like, he didn't want to go through the hard stuff. He didn't want to go through the build before we got to this point. But now all of a sudden, but hey, Sham said the Knicks were interested in KD. Both sides were interested in each other. So, Jada Don says, definitely don't want KD in place of one of our starters. Cat and Shamit for KD wouldn't suck, Paces Think says. Woody says we don't need KD. Robert says, I trust KD more, but window closes by a lot. Yeah, that's the thing. You trust KD more. You know he's going to give you meaningful playoff games. You know, he's been there, done that. He's an assassin. Kevin Durant. Right? This summer, I think, is going to be interesting. Depending on how it looks during these playoffs, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but that all of a sudden on April 2nd just came out of the blue. Like Kevin Durant, and he threw the Knicks in there, and I'm like, why now? Like, why is that coming out now? I know Kevin Durant just got hurt, so that has a reason to do with that. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. It did cross my mind. It was something I was thinking about, as I gathered my thoughts when I think about the Knicks. Like this summer, would they dabble in Kevin Durant? Like, would they dabble in those sweepstakes? Because it's interesting. Depends what goes out. Depends what we give up. But I think this core, after 1 year, I don't think you blow it up. And that's not blowing it up, but I don't think you deviate after 1 year and get older. Even though it's Kevin Durant, you will be getting older for Kevin Durant. Right? Kevin Durant's age. I think he's 38. Yeah, he's 34. Dante says we don't need KD. Easy on him says please trade Cat. Cat and JB on the floor in the playoffs will not work. Well, good thing we have to see it this in a few weeks. Easy on him. I think it will. It has worked, right? I mean, obviously we've had games where they've been struggling, but I think it will work. And I don't know. Like, I don't see this front office deviating to a Kevin Durant this summer. But when Shams speaks, you listen. He's kind of like a Woj, very up-and-coming, respectful reporter in this league. And when Shams speaks, you listen. And he said that the Knicks were among one of the teams interested in trading for Kevin Durant. So we can do this on the whim here. El Figure says, we don't need an aging KD. Please, no. Let's focus on our bench and depth. I know, El Figure. We just at the end of the post game, just chopping it up with you guys. Appreciate all of you in here. Thank you for the support, as always. Honestly, thank you for giving me your time. This Rover says, we don't need KD. Robert says, agree. I say give this team more time together. They need to tinker with the roster for sure, though. Yeah, I don't think you make a big move like that. Isaiah says, I wish I could give Mikal a motivational speak in person. Someone has to light a fire in him. I think he'll be good, Isaiah. I know you're concerned about Mikal. I think he would be good, hopefully, these playoffs. But Kevin Durant gets paid $54 million next year. It's a big contract. So, big contract. So, even if you give up like a Mikal, which I don't think you would do, you have to give up more. But, hey, you know who's close, man? PJ Tucker and Kevin Durant. They're close. Knicks just signed PJ Tucker to a 2-year, 1+1 deal, team option for the second year. He's essentially a guy at the end of the bench for veteran leadership. So this $54 million will have to get matched by salary. And that's if they go down this road. I'm just having fun with you guys. Just having fun. El Figgy says, bring back Dante and a serviceable center that we can move Towns to the 4 where he's more comfortable in Hart and Dante off the bench. Man, that will be amazing if we get Dante back. I miss Dante. I really do miss Dante. Jay the Don said, Cat better than KD at this current time, and KD hasn't been playing good for the Suns like Cat has for us this season, and Cat is significantly younger. Cat is younger. Kevin Durant has been playing really well for the Suns lately. And yes, but he is older. Injuries, I mean, he's dealt with catastrophic injuries, Achilles, anytime you deal with that. I mean, he's older, so he's going to be turning 37 next year. So you're essentially putting your window at a 2-year window. I mean, you don't know how he's going to, I mean, that'll be his 18th season. So, I mean, but I think the Suns will trade him. Knicks were an option. Once again, I'm reiterating what Shams Charania said on ESPN, that the Knicks were one of the teams interested in Kevin Durant. But, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, but this summer is going to be interesting. Yuri, have a good night, Yuri. Appreciate you as always. Isaiah says, I'm sorry, man. Just seeing him look defeated and him only attempting 6 shot attempts just irks me. Yeah, Mikal, I mean, I think it's all a mental block with Mikal. Sometimes he has these games. Last time he had this game was versus the Lakers where I just was like upset. But I think it's all about mindset. And look, if he has these games in the playoffs, then it's a concern. Then you're going into the summer like first year Mikal was like in the playoffs wasn't that great, but I want to be positive. I do think Mikal's going to have a great series for us. I think all these guys are going to be great for us. And I think this Knicks team can shock some people. I do, but everything has to go right, and you just have to be healthy, right? It's good that we have Mitch back, and now the bench, Shaman has been playing well, but I think this Knicks team is good. We just have to see what this Knicks team can bring in the playoffs. So, Yuri says, I'd rather be 0-8 against elite teams than have KD on my team. Yuri does not want Kevin Durant on his team. Kevin Durant now wants to come to the Knicks. Now he wants to be a Knick after that summer were hoping for Kevin Durant to sign with us. Then Julius Randle signed with us, and that kind of kickstarted everything. The culture was being built. Now Kevin Durant's open to being a New York Knick, supposedly. Look, he wants to be in New York again. He wants to be in a media market, and he wants to – look, he's a great player. He is, but I don't think that's what this Knicks team needs, although I've seen arguments against what I just said. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Again, thank you for giving me your time. Once again, Knicks have 7 more of these things, and we just, have to get healthy and have to continue to build good habits and just get healthy, guys. Just get healthy. Once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. I'm Anthony. Have a good night. Peace.